Today on Carbon Reels, let's talk about Return of the Jedi. In 1983, we got the conclusion to the Star Wars trilogy, Return of the Jedi. Though the original name of the film was actually called Revenge of the Jedi, Lucas decided to change the name of the film right before the release date. Now, like my previous videos, I'm not necessarily here to break down the whole film, but talk about what I like about the film. The first thing that stands out to me is Luke's green lightsaber. We know now that Lucas decided to go with a green lightsaber because of the background issues, specifically the lighting on Tatooine. From what we understand, the blue lightsaber was blending into the sky too much, so they did some retesting with different colors, and what we got was green. But we didn't find this out until much later. I think for me though, what really stands out is that green represents hope. A hope for a better day. A hope for a better future. One without the Empire. A universe where the Empire didn't exist. The Empire represented everything a Sith was. Control, domination, power, ambition, and pretty much the embodiment of evil. Whereas in Luke, we have hope, which embodies traits like grace, forgiveness, redemption. Because the Jedi Order had already fallen, Luke had nothing really to go on. And while Obi-Wan and Yoda were essentially trying to train him on how to use the Force, they weren't training him on how to be a Jedi. You could look at it like Obi-Wan and Yoda were just trying to make a weapon to destroy the Empire. But what's interesting is Luke saw something different, even when Vader confronted him with his speech. Luke obviously had a lot of emotional awareness, and he used that to his advantage. Obviously his goal was to become a Jedi, but he had no idea what that really meant. And this is where the extended universe really took off in my opinion. It's better than anything we'll get in film. What Rian Johnson gave us was just an insult in my opinion. What we should have gotten is a new Jedi Academy. Luke training other Force users how to be compassionate, how to look beyond what's in front of them. Remember the line, only Sith deal in absolutes, which tells us a Jedi should have compassion. There should be grace. There should be forgiveness. Not forgiveness from consequence, but enough forgiveness for redemption. All is not lost though. We got Mandalorian Season 2. We got to see Luke in his prime. But I want to step back a little bit and actually talk about Luke's journey, and why I think he's the greatest hero I've ever seen on film. After Luke turns himself into the Empire, he's brought before Vader. He confronts Vader with the truth he knows, and what he knows is there are cracks in Vader's armor. So of course Vader brings him before the Emperor. As a super fan of Star Wars, the dialogue between the Emperor and Luke hold a lot of meaning for me. You have hope versus despair. And while the Emperor toys with Luke's emotions, and Luke even falls for that temptation, we see the turmoil and struggle within Luke. He is there to confront evil, but he doesn't necessarily know how to defeat it, which is why he doesn't just go all out and kill Vader. Even in the midst of confronting Vader with the lightsaber, he realizes there has to be a different way. So when Luke is on the balcony, he says, "I will not fight you, Father." And Vader throws his lightsaber, Luke decides to hide. And while hiding, he is trying to figure out how to move forward. He realizes killing Vader and the Emperor is not the path of a Jedi. So of course Vader does what Vader does best, manipulation. He can't find Luke, but he knows if he pushes him too far, Luke will lose control. And so Vader uses Luke's emotions against him. Vader goads Luke into attacking him. And at the end of the day, like a true hero, Luke will do anything to defend those he loves. So he attacks Vader. But after he defeats Vader and cuts his hand off, there is a gut punch when Luke looks at Vader's arm. It's mechanical just like his own. And the spell of rage that Vader put over him is broken. Luke comes back to himself. And he realizes, oh, what have I done? And so he stops. He looks at his own hand. And he looks at his father's arm. And it's at that moment when he becomes a true Jedi. You cannot defeat the enemy by fighting the enemy the way the enemy fights. So Luke turns, and we get one of the greatest pieces of dialogue I've ever heard. "I am a Jedi, like my father before me," and throws his lightsaber to the side. That moment is why Luke Skywalker is my favorite hero out of any film or book I have ever read. He's better than Iron Man, Captain America, Superman. It's also why I think The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars film we've ever gotten. It's a complete slap in the face to who Luke really is, and everything he stood for. It's just an insult. So while I'm in the minority of thinking Return of the Jedi is the greatest Star Wars film, I'm totally okay with that. because Luke's journey to become a Jedi is way better than anything Empire gave us. And Empire is still a great Star Wars film. It's the second best Star Wars film in my opinion. It's just not better than Return of the Jedi because of Luke. At the end of the day, we all need hope. With that being said, I'm your host Aaron with Carbon Reels. Let's talk about film.